Hey everybody, it's Karen Bentley here. Thanks for finding your way to my channel. I've got a quiz for you. Which therapy do you think is better for alcohol dependencies? Choice number 1, 12-step. Choice number 2, CBT or cognitive behavior therapy. Choice number 3, MET or motivational enhancement therapy. Which one do you think gets the best results based on the results of a multi-year mega study involving 1,726 people? Hold your thoughts, and we're going to get to it at the end of this video, and it's a short one, only about 10 minutes or so. I'd like to introduce myself just real quickly for you. I'm Karen Bentley. I'm the creator of the Warrior's Way of Recovery and Healing. I am the creator of the Love Experience, and I am the creator of the Sugar-Free Miracle Diet System. You can check out all of those programs at my website, KarenBentley.com. But today we're going to be talking about the MatchStudy, and I think you'll find it really interesting, really helpful, and very inspirational. So, what was it? Well, the MatchStudy was conducted in 1996 by the NIAA, which is the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And it is the largest scientific study called a mega study. It was $28 million. Again, it was started in 1996. It was done over an 8-year period at multiple sites. And it compares those three therapies, AA, which they call here TSF, or 12-step facilitation. It's like AA, but it's one-on-one coaching. It's not done through meetings. It's done through the therapist, and it focuses on steps 1 through 5. The second one was CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy, which is the idea that if you have an alcohol dependency issue, it's probably because you have some unresolved problem in your life and you need the skills and the ability to cope with that problem better. And then MET, which is motivational enhancement therapy, which is to give the individual, give the client the motivation, a reason to change, and then change happens very automatically. So those were the three modalities that they studied. And who was this study for? Well, it was for problem drinkers and people who were only problem drinkers, or what they called pure alcoholics, not people with other dependencies. They just wanted somebody who was struggling with drinking. And the person had to be 18 years or older. They could not be homeless. They could not be under legal investigation or incarcerated. They could not be diagnosed with some extreme psychological or emotional condition. Everyday emotional problems were fine, but if you were dysfunctional, you couldn't be in the program. And you had to agree to be put into a mode of treatment randomly. You couldn't pick it yourself. So those were the qualifications of the 1,726 people who participated in this study. The study was done by taking an intake of the person. Then they had 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching. Then they had one-on-one evaluations at intervals after that, which were every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 15 months. The treatments were all outpatient. Nobody was residentially treated, but they were done in a hospital setting. There were 25 therapists who did who delivered all the counseling sessions. And these were highly trained, highly qualified people who either had a master's degree or higher, or who were certified addiction counselors, so one or the other. And these people were put into a highly structured highly quality control protocols. There was no opportunity for deviation or for creativity. They had to follow the protocol, and no pharmaceutical therapies were permitted. So it was just receiving the therapies as I defined above. And what were they trying to prove with this study? Well, they wanted to confirm the belief that therapy works, that, something actually happens when you go through one or all of these processes. They wanted to prove that if a patient or a client is matched with a certain therapy, that they might get a better result because they're matched to a therapy that works for them. So they were trying to prove that the therapy has a role, the type of therapy makes a difference. And the basic idea is that there's a preferable or right therapy for everybody. And then they were hoping to get repeatable, predictable results that could be achieved in an outpatient setting without the high cost of residential treatment. So those were the things they sort of went in trying to find. And what did they get? All right. Well, first they got controversy. So there was two major controversies. The first one is that there was no control group. There was no do-it-yourself group. There was nobody who was measured without receiving any therapy whatsoever. And this is controversial because some people believe that the highest success group are those who do it yourself. The highest success group, but underreported, are people who stop on their own. So we don't know because they weren't looked at and they weren't measured, but that's out there as a controversy. The second controversy is that the matching process was not subjective. The people who participated, the 1,726 people who participated in this program, they didn't have a vote in the process, and they might have, allowing them to subjectively pick the program they wanted to receive therapy in might have produced a different result. So those were the two controversies. And what were the results? So from the date of the client's intake to 3 years after, 952 people completed the program. They stayed in the program that long, which was a stunning 85% success rate. That was really quite a surprise. And of those 952 completions, 30% of them had abstained from alcohol at least 30 days or more prior to the end date of their survey program. And here was the really big kicker. Surprise. It made zero, nada difference which therapeutic program they participated in. The difference was negligible. It's called negative findings. There was no statistical difference between any of the three modalities that they used: 12-step facilitation, CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, or MET, motivational enhancement therapy. They all produced the same 30% result. And so the study people were disappointed because they didn't prove that one was better than the other. But the AA people were thrilled. They got a 30% success rate, for God's sakes. That's great. And the CBT people were thrilled. They got a 30% success rate, and that's great. And the MET people were thrilled because they got a 30% success rate, and that's great. And they can all brag about it. They just couldn't say one was better or more high-performing or produced stronger results than the other. They were all equally the same. The study also failed to prove that those with the heaviest drinking problem would do less well, would do worse. That was the expectation, that if you had a more severe problem, you were going to perform worse. And that was not true. And they also failed to prove that those with greater emotional or psychological problems, and again, the really serious ones were screened out, but if you had an everyday emotional problem, you could be in the study. And they were just as successful as anybody else. So that's good news for all of us, right? What were the most important findings. The most important finding, other than the fact that the therapy didn't really matter, was that the individual's readiness to change, the individual's readiness to make a decision was the number one most important overriding condition for success across every program. The individual's readiness to change. Number two, that change was extremely rapid. And meaning that change didn't happen after a long period of time. Practically all improvement was evident by the first week of treatment. So they made the change and then they sustained it. So that was really a very interesting and exciting finding. And the third thing they found out was that the worse the dependency, the more severe your drinking problem, the better the result. So that was also very exciting. And the fourth thing they found out was that the therapist was more important than the treatment. And that was truly a surprise. So a great match with a therapist was more important than a great match to a particular treatment. And that the therapist's educational achievements were irrelevant. So it didn't matter if you were a certified addiction counselor or if you had a PhD and other initials after your name. That didn't matter. And your gender didn't matter. And the most important therapist characteristic was the therapist's personal commitment to the client. The therapist's ability to forge an alliance with the client, and the therapist's warmth and acceptance of the client. That was what was important. And they believe, the researchers who compiled the results believe that 85% compliance rate is due to the strength of the therapist-client bond, and because they had picked the therapist so carefully and because they were so highly trained. So again, the best predictors of success: clients' readiness for change, clients' willingness to make a decision. Number one, most important thing, hands down. Number two, the bond between the therapist and client. If you're going to select a therapy, be sure you pick a person or a group you can bond with. It's important. Number three, respect, understanding, and support from your family or friend group. And number four, stability in your life, stability in your job, stability in your relationships, stability in where you live. If you have a lot of churning in your life, it's going to be very hard. So I found these really exciting results. Did any of you guess that there would be no difference in the type of therapy received? I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have picked something. I don't know what. But I have to give a plug to the Warrior's Way of Recovery and Healing, because the recovery and healing process in that program encompasses all three of the success modalities. So number one, it lights your heart on fire with motivation, the invitation to be a warrior, the invitation to embrace recovery and healing as a warrior. Makes you want to do it. It just is a great way to get yourself motivated, to get yourself enthused, and to make that decision. So becoming a warrior will do that for you. The second is that you get a process. You get skills and a process for stopping yourself from doing whatever it is you don't want to do. And it's a skill-based program that anyone can learn, even you. So, and it also includes a daily accountability process. So it's a very practical, useful way to go about stopping yourself. And number three is you get a bond with me, which I can hardly wait to extend to you, and you get a bond with the other warriors who participate in our program. And there's never a discouraging word with warriors. We are all about being there. We are all about making it happen for ourselves and for each other. So that's the Warrior's Way. Excuse the shameless plug. Check it out on my website, KarenBentley.com. Hey, if you like this content, you know what to do. I need your help. Smash the like button. Subscribe to my channel. If you know Oprah, please ask her to call me. I know she would love to talk with me. And come back, come back. I can't wait to be with you again. Bye for now. Mwah! So long.